Being an entrepreneur is like waking up every morning and knowing that you're going to get punched in the face, but not knowing where the punch is going to come from. And in the beginning, the punch is like really hard and like you're like fearing it all day. But then as you grow as an entrepreneur, you're going to just accept the punch and you're going to be ready for it.
You know, one of the things that is really interesting about kind of the entrepreneur studio is the range of people that we get to talk to. Age ranges, demographic ranges, all these different kinds of attributes for businesses. And I think one of the things that is a dream of a lot of people is starting a food truck. Have you guys met other people that are like, oh, I've always wanted to do that?
Yeah, I feel like we actually get that a lot. Like when we first say like, oh, we're in the food truck industry, people are like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to, I have this concept that I want to try out.
Everyone has that idea like in the back of their mind that they like would love to take to the test.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's when I told a couple of people that we were going to have conversations with you, and I was sharing your TikTok and all that kind of stuff, and they were like, I've always wanted to start a food truck. I was on a call yesterday, and this lady goes, okay, I have a concept. I really want to start a food truck. This is something I've always wanted to do. And she went all the way into this thing. She has spent an elaborate amount of time thinking about this, and she's in marketing at an agency. So I don't know what it is about marketers and food trucks, but you kind of got to be good at marketing. So
totally.
Anyway, well, yeah, I'd love to hear your story, you know, maybe about you guys personally, and then kind of just how the business was born.
Okay.
That's a good story. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
You take it away.
All right.
Ivana and I met 5 years ago, our senior year at University of Washington.
Good
4
odds.
years ago.
Yep.
5 years ago. So a short time, but we've become very close since. We met our senior year at UW. Ivana was a major in business and I was a major in communications. And we met in this class called Creating a Company.
The class is legit called like Creating a Company, like 401 or something like that.
And that's what you do. You create a company. So it's a two-quarter long class.
Yep.
Where the first 10 weeks, you are brainstorming, prototyping, coming up with a product that you're going to sell to the campus, greater Seattle area. There's really no limits, not a lot of rules. It is full of creativity and like truly embodies like entrepreneurial spirit. Mm-hmm. And the second 10 weeks, you sell your product and your grade is determined on the success and how much money you make over the course of the full 20 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. So in between the two quarters, you actually go and pitch to investors. So the University of Washington has like alumni, entrepreneurs come and you pitch your idea and you tell them like, I need this much money to start this business so that we can get selling next quarter. And you use that money, you start the company, you make your product, and then you go sell. And then, we wanted to get an A. I met William in that class because we had never met before. Like we were both in very close circles, but somehow we had never met. And we connected because we both were thinking we were going to go into real estate after college.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Ivana had freshly passed her real estate exam. And I was studying too. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go chat this girl up and see if I can get a feel for what the test was like. And
he wanted like my notes.
So you're a licensed realtor and a business owner.
Yeah, I haven't used my license once. I don't even know if it's still intact.
The thing that's awesome is that you're a licensed realtor and you have like food trucks. There's no fixed property. Right?
No real estate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting.
That is interesting.
We were going to be real estate agents. Then
we were
convinced.
No, we were convinced. We're like, let's do it together. Let's like hang our licenses together. But that never happened.
You were going to be a duo no matter what.
No matter what. Yeah.
I
from
guess
the beginning.
Yeah, from the start.
Yeah. So then actually William was in a different group when we started the class and his group was like not doing well, like not hitting, like just not taking off. The professor in front of everyone was like, I don't think you guys are going to pass this class. And I felt so bad, but also I had a group members of like 3 fraternity guys who were like my best friends, but they didn't take me seriously. And I had this cookie dough idea. And I was like, you guys, I really think this is going to take off. And they just like weren't taking me seriously. And I was like, this is a 2-quarter class. I want to get an A. I need someone that's going to like support me and help me and like believe in this product too. And I loved William. I loved his energy. And there's just something about him. I was like, I need to get this guy in my group. So I asked the professor, I was like, listen, I don't like really vibe with my group. They're not taking me seriously. Can I go steal William from this group? And he was like, well, this is supposed to be like real world, so I guess I'll allow it.
And up until this point, I'm watching Ivana and her group like, they're selling cookie dough, like how fun, how easy, like I would so like get into this.
Yeah.
And the moment she asked me, it was like an instant group chat to my previous group and I was like,
Bye.
I'm with the
I'm out.
cookie dough peeps now.
Yeah.
And
So that's how it started.
I'm still with my
so
cookie dough peeps.
you recruited him.
I stole him. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I love
Straight
that.
still like stolen. Like it was kind of awkward in the class for the rest of the quarter, but it was so worth it.
So talk to us about like how it was born and how it was initially successful. So did you get an A? Is the first thing.
Yeah, we got an A
Okay.
plus. We got like this was my best grade of all of Foster School of Business, which wasn't hard because I struggled through it all 4 years. But yeah, we got an A both quarters. But how it started was I've always been like a foodie. I've like loved going, like the Seattle food scene is amazing. I love going and trying new restaurants, trying new desserts, and I have a huge sweet tooth. I was with these 3 other frat guys, fraternity gentlemen, I should say. And I was like, we are not skilled. Like other groups had like engineers and people who could make apps and all these awesomely talented people. And we were not talented really in anything like that. So I was like, what can we make that is simple, easy, and that college students would love to buy and enjoy? Because we were on campus with 40,000 people. And I was like, this is a great target market. Let's not try to go get into a grocery store when we only have 1 quarter to sell, right? Like I was like trying to make an easy A out of this class. So I was like, okay, I love dessert. Seattle has a great dessert scene. People love dessert. Students love dessert. What's a dessert that like Seattle doesn't have and that is like different and new and that people would get really excited about? And somehow, I don't know what I was doing. I think I was like with my sorority sisters. We all lived in like the sorority and we were like eating like cookie dough ice cream or something. And I was like, okay, cookie dough is so good. Let's do something with cookie dough. And then I started researching and I was like, okay, this is a thing. Like we can make safe to eat cookie dough. And I felt like I could somehow figure out how to make that and sell that product. Like that was feasible for me to do. So that's how that started. And then
I'm having flashbacks. Go ahead.
you're having flashbacks.
I'm having flashbacks. You're like, we can figure out a way and make it feasible to do. We were like literally testing like more butter, more salt, more salt.
Yeah, like we had
would
no
have
clue. We weren't
samples
chefs.
of the cookie dough and have people try it and they're like,
Yeah.
do this, do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we weren't chefs. We had no food background. We just started whipping it up.
Yeah, and so I was in a sorority at the University of Washington. William was in a fraternity. So what we would do is we would go and make like 5 different batches of safety cookie dough at William's dad's restaurant.
Okay.
So
the
his
restaurant,
family's been in the food industry
Very
for generations. So that was super helpful. Also didn't know that before I stole him into my group, but that was like a key part to our success, his experience in the food industry. So we went and we tried like 5 different batches. Like this one has more butter, this one doesn't. This one uses this flour, this one doesn't. And then we'd go to chapter meetings, which I don't know if anyone's familiar, but like chapter meetings when the whole sorority gets together, whole fraternity, and we have to be there. Like it's mandatory and you meet for like an hour. And at the end of the chapter meeting, I would go up and be like, listen, I'm in this class creating a company. I need everyone to try this and give me your reviews, which one's best. Because it was like a big sample pool that's like free. You know, because it's really hard to get a bunch of people to try your product for free and give their honest review. So that's how we found out like the perfect recipe. And we still use that recipe today. The exact same one.
That's amazing. You know, I would say school projects like that are where like dreams go to die. You know what I mean? Like not very many businesses get born out of that exercise. And it seems like you guys, one, got a concept. And I kind of think the food choice, you went from dessert to like you had a target market, which was super smart. You're like, let's try this on college students. And then you went to dessert, which has a lot to do with maybe a gut instinct, you know, because you're like, you're coming up with these ideas and we'll talk about the gut of an entrepreneur here in a little bit. But like, how did the food truck thing happen?
That's you.
So we took this product that the fraternities and the sororities liked. We started jarring it and we do pop-ups on campus. And
off a table in a sushi fridge that we stole from William's dad's grandpa's casino.
Yeah.
But
like
long story.
Yeah, that's a whole
that's
like
a whole
episode
other.
two.
That's episode 2.
Tune back for that
episode
one.
2. So your grandpa, your dad's, okay, tell me what was the
So William's family has been in the food and casino industry for generations, and his grandpa had this really amazing casino in Seattle, which there's not many of. And they had this like sushi restaurant inside the casino.
Yeah.
And William went inside and stole the sushi fridge.
So we could have
So
like
we
a
could
way
have-
to keep the cookie dough cold at
Yeah.
our pop-ups.
Okay, so both of you are thieves. You stole him from a team, and he
I
stole
stole
We
sushi.
love
Yeah,
stealing.
that's it.
Yeah.
from your grandpa.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
cheers.
so
Cheers.
fold out white table, pink wood backdrop with like makeshift shells full of like mason jars with sprinkles and chocolate chips to try to make it cute.
We hired a fraternity gentleman to make our backdrop. Yeah.
Yeah, spray painted backdrop, sushi fridge,
So
cookie
a
dough.
graffiti backdrop. Got it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But the
Not
part
cute.
that is like the most crazy is just like crowds, lines, like hecticness almost, like huge demand for this product because cookie dough is just perfect because it's familiar, but it's exciting to see this in like reinvented way. And this is where I'm getting to the food truck slowly.
Oh, I know.
It took a couple
bated
scoops
breath.
first.
It's okay.
But I'm like walking home from our pop-ups looking at our sales and I'm like, this is like comparable to like what the restaurant does on like a Friday night in like an hour. Like we're doing the same. So I call my dad. I'm like, we just did this amount selling off like a table in the middle of campus. Like I think this could go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, yeah, I do too. And I sit down with Ivana.
Sit down. He stalked me. Like I'm like in the business school, Foster School of Library, like downstairs in the basement trying to study. And he would just come and find me.
It's true, but she makes it sound so
And I'd be like,
creepy.
hey, like what's up? Studying. He's like, listen, I wrote all these business plans out. Like we need to do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's a class project. Like leave me alone. Like we're not doing this in real life.
And so how did I convince you? Like, how did we end up meeting with our dads about it?
I think just like as the class went on, like our pop-ups got more and more busy. And then we'd have like food bloggers reaching out to us, like Seattle food bloggers, like, where can I get this product? Like I want to feature it on my page. And we were like, I would literally reply to them, hey, we're just a school project. Like, please don't come to the campus. Like it's so awkward. Like don't come to our pop-up.
And people off campus would come to campus when we did have pop-ups. So we saw demand. You started seeing demand.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, maybe he's right.
And we sat down with our dads in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And we're like,
In the back room of a restaurant. We were like, hey.
we're like, this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
And they tell us now, they're like, we just thought this was going to be like the biggest learning lesson for you guys. Like
Crash and fail.
crash and fail. And like failure leads to success in a way, like learning moments, right? Experience.
Yeah.
So they had us write 3 business plans
Yeah.
for our concept. One was selling our cookie dough through a food truck,
Yep.
which Ivana did not help me work on, like
I didn't touch that one.
avoided it.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like, that's
Bottom of the
awkward.
stack.
Not doing that one. Yeah.
and then mid stack was bringing our cookie dough to retailers like grocery store.
Yeah. Wholesale, retail, that kind of stuff.
And then the third and last one was brick and mortar, which was Ivana's favorite.
I worked on that one a lot.
Like a cute shop, you come in, you order your scoop of cookie dough, you sit down with your friends,
Made a whole
fun music's
Pinterest
playing.
board. Yeah. Like I had, like the shop was already done in my head. Yeah.
There we go.
And
Yeah.
then the dads and it was a 3-1 vote. Like we all voted for the food truck because it was.
How did the dads get a vote again? Did they bring money?
They're like
to
our
get a vote?
board.
Okay.
Yeah, they're our board. Whenever we have a serious
Whenever
decision
we
we
have-
need to make,
see,
we're
we
like, we
just
need to
call
talk
the
to our
dads
board, our
up.
mentors. It's
Yeah.
our dads.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how they got votes. So just with their advice, not necessarily. Did they fund you guys at all? Seed money, or was it from sales?
William invested his own money and then I asked my dad for a loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool.
I worked 8 years in a restaurant through high school and college, and all that went into the food truck, which was super crazy, but was worth it.
Yeah.
It was a really surreal moment because, like, again, we thought we were going to be real estate agents. Now we're in an Italian restaurant. Like, okay, you're going to start a cookie dough food truck with all the money you have in your bank account.
Yeah.
And the dads were like, yeah, do it. And we're like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we were on Craigslist. We type in food truck, and there was one listed in Seattle. And we're like, here, like, this is the truck. And
Mind you, it's like a month before graduation. Like my friends are all getting Amazon jobs, Microsoft jobs, like
all of our friends are
yeah,
getting real jobs.
like real jobs. And they're like, Ivana, what are you doing again? And I was like,
Well, one, it's cookie dough, and the other is a food truck that's a used one that we got. And
Yeah.
they're like, oh, okay.
they were like,
Yeah, like,
really
oh, yeah.
worried about us. They were like,
Yeah.
are you guys, this was a
You're
class
taking
project.
this a little too.
Get over
Yeah,
it.
it was
Before
cute.
the class,
Yeah, it
congrats.
was fun while it lasted. I don't know how, we didn't get psyched out. I don't know how, but we were just going for it.
And I remember we called my dad on speaker. We're like, here's the link to this food truck. Check it out. He's like, yep. And we're like,
Okay.
so we went down like 30 minutes south of where we live to look at it. And next thing we know, it's in my driveway. And we know nothing about the food truck. Like, we don't know how to put water in it. We
I don't know how
where-
it turns on.
where to park it, like anything. I remember driving it home from the DMV after we like did all the licensing stuff. And like, when I'm talking 10 and 2, like 10 on the dot, 2 on the dot, white knuckles, sweaty. Like I had one of my brothers follow me behind and one in front because I'm driving this P30 1994 Chevrolet, 28 feet long, 10 feet wide.
Diesel.
Like, for the first time, like I didn't know it could go over 30 miles an hour when I first drove it because I'm like flooring the gas pedal and I'm going as fast as I can. But it ends up in my driveway. And the summer after we graduated, we turn that paper business plan into something real life. So we started like wrapping the truck, working on branding, marketing, how we were going to package our product, menu, pricing, where we were going to park.
Yeah. And then we just started.
That's awesome. The birth of a business. So Sugar and Spoon. How'd you come up with the name?
So we used to be called the Doughboys when we were in school.
And it
kind
felt
of a play.
disingenuous for you, or
Right. Well, it was a play because I was like, okay, I've got these gentlemen that aren't really, they weren't taking me seriously very much. And then I joined, like Will joined our group and I was like, yeah, the Doughboys, it makes sense. It's funny. This is a class project. It's perfect. Obviously for many reasons that name didn't really work. Pillsbury Doughboy was like coming for us like any second. And so.
Which would have been a great commercial. You guys getting into a fist fight.
Fist fight
with the little Pillsbury man.
Pillsbury so awesome. Cute. And we need our own mascot. And then we started, the University of Washington had an accelerator program, which is a really cool program for startups. It's like a 6-month program. And at the end, if you finish it, you get a grant towards your company. So during that program, we had like 7 mentors. And one of the first things they said we had to change was our name. And so we got someone to help us with our brand and like marketing and like new logo and design. And we just kind of were like thinking of names all summer. And so we would just like text each other random stuff that we would think about. And I wanted it to not have cookie dough in the name. That was like something big for me just because like we were so fresh, we were so new. We didn't even know where this was going to go. We didn't want to like label it as just cookie dough. And then we wanted something catchy, something sweet.
I remember we talked about like, is it sugar plus spoon? Is it sugar and spoon? Is it sugar spoon? And it's something that gets people like talking about our name too.
Yeah. I call it sugar spoon just because it's fast, but yeah.
Well, like one word, sugar spoon.
Yeah, that's awesome. Some signals that I'm picking up from you guys about why sort of you're working together well is like, you got a really good gut and you sort of know what might work, right? And you lean towards that a little bit. Definitely like goal and achievement driven.
Right. And
then you're like crazy work ethic, like ideas on progress and how to bring things to life. Right. And one of the things that I've noticed about really successful businesses is this chemistry between co-founders. If you look at like the accelerator program that you were talking about, if you look at a lot of the accelerator programs out there, one of the defaults is you have to have a co-founder.
Yeah.
It is amazing that solo lone wolf entrepreneurs have such a lower chance of success than co-founders. So I think it's really awesome to see the chemistry between you guys and that it naturally sort of occurred where you recruited him and you had the gut. You're like, this dude's got it, right? He's got the X factor that I need. And you maybe didn't 100% know. You're like, I just like this guy's energy.
No, that's totally it.
Right?
And you hit it like right on the head. Like
you read that like so quickly for how
little
short of a
you
time
know us.
you.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's crazy. That's
us.
people. Yeah, when people meet us, they're like, it is crazy how different you guys are, but how well you work together. So like I say to everyone, like, I don't believe that I'm an entrepreneur. Like by the definition, I do not fit the bill of an entrepreneur. I'm a perfectionist. It's like, it has to be perfect to get done for me. I like get really hung up on things, but then William is like, go, 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 go. Better done than perfect. What's next? Growth mindset. Like no is like not a big deal for him. No, like at the beginning, like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't handle a no, but he was like, oh, no, it's just like a redirection. And so we work so well together because I love like the little making things like really articulate, perfect, like all put together perfect, like with a little bow on it. And then William's like, go, go, go. Like he's like 20 steps ahead of me and I'm just like chasing after him kind of, but it works really, really well. And yeah, when I met him, I didn't know that, but I just had this weird feeling that like we were supposed to work together and it works so well. Yeah. He's like the true entrepreneur and I'm just like, like, I don't know, pseudo. I don't know what I am. I'm like not real, but
I don't know what value I add to this relationship, but it's something, right?
Yeah. It's,
come on.
It's just like the perfect mix, I feel like. Cause if we were both William, it wouldn't work. And if we were both like me, it wouldn't work. Like if I had a co-founder that was like me, we would still be wrapping the truck. Like I wouldn't have
coming up with our name.
Yeah, we'd be still because it would never be perfect. It would never be done. But William's like, let's go. You have 20 minutes to do this and figure it out, and like let's go on to the next thing. And yeah, I obviously think the world of him, but I think we're just like the best pair that you could have for something like this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the business.
Yeah.
Because you went from nothing to something. Okay. And you went from this idea of dessert, and we talked about the idea. So actually building the business, right? What are some of the things that like you've learned to stand up this business, and how unique the food truck business is, and the dessert food truck business is, and how unique that is? I want to talk about some of the ways that you guys kind of thought through how to make it work, and some of the core concepts around this, and how you have brought them to life. What are some of the lessons that you've learned, and why you've picked the niches that you did and stuck with them?
That's the good question.
Ready, fire, aim is a mentality that we've had like from the very start.
Yeah.
And it's like, get it done, reevaluate, see how you can grow from that, and then execute like this new and better way of doing that same thing.
Yeah. It's funny that you said like how you prepared to do the dessert food truck industry. When we bought our first food truck, we had no clue what we were doing. We called up seattlefoodtruck.com, which is like the #1 food truck organizer in Seattle. And we told, this is the best story. We called them up. Hey, we're Ivana and William. We just bought a food truck and we're going to be selling safety cookie dough. He's like, oh, you're a dessert truck? We're like, yeah, we're so excited. Like, it's a really new concept. He was like, how big is your truck? And we were like, 28 feet long. And he was like, why'd you buy such a big truck to do dessert? And we were like, well, it was the first one on Craigslist. It really like works for us. I don't know. We don't know anything about food trucks. And he was like, he literally said, like, if I were you guys, did you like, how far are you along? And we're like, we haven't gotten our permits yet. We haven't wrapped yet. And he was like, honestly, I haven't seen one dessert truck make it in Seattle, and it's not too late. I think you guys should reevaluate this and maybe not do this.
Was that our first big, like, no? Like,
that was
don't
our
do
first
this?
big, like, do not do this. And I like hung up, cried. And William was like, don't listen to him. That was ridiculous. Like, we got this. All right, come on, keep going. And I was like, this guy runs every single, like, he organizes every single food truck in Seattle. So like, and he's been doing this for years. So I was like,
event, private event.
Doesn't matter what it is, he organizes it. And I was like, maybe we should like kind of think about what he said. William didn't even take it to heart. Like, sometimes I think you like barely remember that conversation, except for like, I remember because it was so traumatic for me. But we didn't have like a plan. Like, we didn't know. We had no clue what industry we were getting into in Seattle. We had no clue what the food truck industry was like. We had no clue what the dessert food truck industry was like. We were just literally going for it. So, and somehow it worked, but I think it's because of a lot of the weird things that we did to make it work.
Yeah.
So what made you push through that moment? Like, she's emotional, right? And
Beyond.
you're like, no, this is what we're doing, and here's why. What was going through your mind at the time? Why were you so convinced?
I don't know. I mean, it's like you have to get a certain amount of no's before like things work. Like, a lot of people aren't going to take you seriously until you prove a concept. And like, I've grown up with the stories of like Starbucks getting denied from like dozens and dozens and dozens of banks before he got one yes. Or there's a million stories like that, and we just like lived that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's huge. I don't know how much. I don't know what the algorithms feed you on TikTok and others, but like I have all of these sort of like motivational self-help entrepreneurial things in mind.
Yeah.
And what you just said is like, yeah, you got to go through all the no's, right? You got to get denied a bunch of times.
And there's an entrepreneurial spirit like distilled in us, and it takes like, I think, a sort of crazy person. I think it's someone who can take no for an answer like all the time, and someone who has so much passion that like those no's and those negative answers like don't phase you. Like, they go over your head because you have so much drive like within yourself that you're gonna like keep pushing forward.
That's awesome. Well, one of the things I think is really different about dessert and food truck and the Safe to Eat is you don't have to cook anything.
Yeah.
Every other food truck, it's like it's a whole kitchen. So what is sort of the thing about your food truck that's a little different where you don't have to cook anything?
We don't cook anything on our truck. Everything is pre-prepared and ready to serve. We're focusing on assembling our product and selling our product. So it allows us to serve a lot more people in a shorter amount of time and spend less time preparing the product.
Right. So we don't have to like get to an event an hour early and like start cooking. Like, we can get to an event 5 minutes before it starts, open up the hatch or like open up the window, and we're ready to go. Everything's like, we have such a system down that it takes like 3 minutes to set up. And not only that, but when you order something, it's not going to take like 10, 20 minutes to get your food. Like it's ready right there. So we can serve a lot of people in a short amount of time, which is what you really want to be able to do with a food truck business.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So the second piece of that is like you got like a simplified, streamlined set of operations. So how did you go from, how did you get the system down, like you just said?
Yeah, that's a good question. So when we first started, everything was in freezers, which I don't know why we thought that was normal. I think we were just thinking like ice cream truck.
Yeah, and it's like the way our food truck came, we just like went with that floor layout. Like we didn't change anything at first.
Yeah.
We just like put our product on board and we started scooping our cookie dough out of freezers, and
it was really hard.
It was really hard because it's like it's not like ice. It's not scoopable like ice cream. It's like a dough.
Yeah.
Straight up. So we're like,
oh, getting bruises.
Literally
on our
bruises.
arms.
We had to ice our wrists at night.
Of
oh my gosh.
bruises on our arms. Yeah. So we really quickly realized that wasn't going to work.
Because our line was growing and we weren't able to serve people quickly. So we learned that we had to shift the operation inside our truck to become more efficient, serve more tickets, and sell to more customers. So we invested in a fridge, like kind of like a Subway style fridge. So our flavors pop into bins in this fridge. And we're able to scoop our product at fridge temp, which is so much faster, more efficient. So spending that extra money and being able to serve more people in a shorter amount of time allowed us to excel in our trucks, serve more people in a shorter amount of time.
Yeah.
So you have a fixed location where you guys kind of prepare the stuff and then get it on trucks?
So we used to make all of the cookie dough in like a commissary. Well, okay, so I was head chef at once upon a time. Wasn't the best job for me. Because obviously that's like, I've never been in the food industry. I've never even worked in a restaurant before this job. Like this is my first food industry job. So I had no clue what I was doing, but William would be working the trucks and he'd call me and be like, okay, we need this many more pounds of chocolate chip cookie dough. And I'd be like, I have been making cookie dough all night. Like, what do you mean you're almost sold out? So I couldn't keep up with demand.
This was like so reoccurring. Like every phone call was like, we need more, like we're out of this, we're out of this, we're out of this. And we were only selling on like Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights at this point because we were just getting started. And like we quickly realized that we wanted to focus on selling our product and not making our product because we were like getting behind on the traction that we had. So we were forced to find someone who could make our product
for us
better, more efficiently, so that we could focus on selling it.
Okay.
Yeah. So then
so now you're in sales.
Yeah. So now I'm back.
Exactly.
I'm back.
I was just gonna, recommend that if you're not.
Thank you. So then we got our Copacker, which was a game changer. And it took a long time finding a Copacker. There's not many in our area. And again, like we were still those like college kids with a food truck. So getting like, it took a long time for them to take us seriously.
Okay.
But once we told them like, okay, this is how much I've been making on my own, they were like, okay, we can do that. I was like, awesome, great.
I remember kind of like upping our numbers a little bit. Like, yeah, we'll go through like this.
Oh yeah, no, we'll go through that. Like, you kind of have to like.
Just to get them on board because like you said, like no one believed us. Like we had to like prove it, and we couldn't prove that we were selling all this product. But working with the Copacker has been like one of the best things that has happened to us because all of the product is manufactured in that facility. It gets shipped to our warehouse. We stock our truck, stock our warehouse, and then we're good like mostly for the week. So product is not on our mind. We're more focused on where we're going to sell it and how we're going to sell it, which allowed us to grow super quickly because spending all this time like cooking, manufacturing, and making your product is time you could be on the road selling your product.
And that's a huge aspect to that because it's like the distribution, right? You're like, hey, we need product available. And then distribution, you got the truck. Do you guys have multiple trucks or just one or?
Yeah, we have 3 now.
3? Okay, awesome. Well, how do you know where to park?
So before COVID, we were parked downtown at like, it's called Westlake Center. It's like the main area downtown Seattle, which was awesome because it's always busy down there. It's like where all the tourists come through, like right by Pike Place Market. There's cruise ships that come through. So there's always new people, which is awesome when you have a very interesting product like ours. New people every day. Like everyone wants to try safety cookie dough. So it was like ideal, like best place.
We're also like walking distance from like business district. So we were able to do a lot of like caterings for larger corporations and companies and such.
Okay.
So it was perfect. And the reason we launched more trucks was because we're sitting here all day, every day. And we're getting inquiries for like weddings, festivals, and fairs. And we're like, we can't be 2 places at once. And this place is so good, but we want to be at these other places. So that's what sparked the idea for the second truck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then COVID hits, and then
yeah,
downtown Seattle is
Ghost
town. And I told William, like, we're throwing in the towel. Like, we're done for. Like, there's no way we can survive this. Like, how are we gonna do this? Like, there's no way.
Everything we knew was like gone.
Like, absolutely. Like, everything that worked for us doesn't exist anymore.
We had a routine. The same location worked for us every day. So it was just a matter of like getting down there, opening up. We knew people were going to be there, closing up, and then doing it again the next day. It was like,
yeah, it worked perfect.
It was perfect. Then the trucks were parked, making
no money,
no sales, hatches closed.
Yeah.
So you only had one part of your 2-part concept left.
Right, but then the second part was events.
Yeah.
And then that's
those were
canceled
gone
too.
Okay.
And no businesses are doing anything, so no caterings, nothing. We had nothing.
Stopped.
Everything. We had like we had a year's worth of events get canceled, like just call after call after call after call after call, and we just didn't know what we were gonna do. And I was like, I just was like, I just don't know what we can do. I think we just need to like wait this out or like reevaluate this in a couple months. Like, I don't know.
So you were beside yourself.
Of course, like back to me crying and like being like, we can't do
He's like,
this.
we can do this.
Yeah, we've been here before.
Our product. Let's figure out like.
William's like, I'm gonna figure it out. Like, I'm like, okay. Like I'm like classic. He's gonna do this thing. I'm gonna let him go on this like tangent for a week and try to figure something out, and like he'll be back. So like I literally just let him do his thing.
So the pandemic hits, and for how long were you beside yourself and he was trying to figure it out?
For a week, I was like, William, come on, William, like. We're not going to do anything. Like, look at all the businesses around us. And he was like, I'm thinking, I'm up to something. Don't worry. And I was like, okay.
But here's what worked. And here's what like pivoted our business and made us thrive in a whole new way.
Yeah.
I get a ping on Facebook from this lady named Angie. And she's
Shout
like,
out,
hey,
Angie.
shout out Angie. She's like, hey, Sugar and Spoon, like I am an hour south of where your trucks are located. She didn't say that, but this is where she is, like pretty far.
Yeah.
And she was like, I want you to come out to my neighborhood. I'm like, cool, here's like our truck price. And we'd love to come out and serve you and your family, your friends for this birthday party, whatever, wedding, whatever we typically do, like happy you're having an event. Like this is crazy this is happening right now. And she's like, actually, it's not a celebration. I'm just going to have you come serve my neighborhood. And I'm like, okay, like we asked for like this guarantee in sales or like, are you picking up the tab? She's like, no, I'm just going to post on my neighborhood Facebook group and you'll get a turnout. I'm like, okay. So she makes a Facebook event.
He doesn't tell me about this until it's like set in stone.
Literally, like I think the day before, like because she was on that like week, like we're not doing sugar, like we're doing. This.
I would quit.
Angie showed up a week after you were beside yourself. Okay.
And this Facebook event is gaining like a ton of traction because everyone's at home, like scrolling through Facebook, and it's like cookie dough truck outside my door, like going. So the Facebook event hit like over 1,000 people interested, and I'm like, oh. Like we gotta make some dough. Like we gotta get dough back on these trucks. Like I gotta tell my staff that we have something going on.
Wait a second. So who created the Facebook event? You?
Angie did. All we did was like, I think we might have shared it on our Sugar Spoon page, but like, this is why Angie's getting the shout out because she was our marketing girl.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
There were so many people interested in the Facebook event.
And I told William I wasn't gonna go.
And
I told him not to go too.
We brought both trucks down to Maple Valley, an hour south, and we had the longest line, the busiest day ever out of our 3 years before this, busier than like the biggest festivals and fairs we've been to. We've done like Bite of Seattle and huge food truck events. Mm-hmm. This was a record day. So we had like a whole realization that we were so comfortable with Westlake and being positioned in the same place every day, but we realized like we're on wheels, we can go wherever, and that people were really excited about trying our product for the first time, and that there were all these people who like reside outside of Seattle that have a huge appreciation for unique food, small businesses, food trucks, something exciting. And from that day, even still, like we go somewhere new every day because a bad location means not great sales, and being on 4 wheels and being able to go wherever you want in a food truck, getting creative with it. Like we could have said no to Angie, but like trying things out led us to where we are now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What an awesome story. I think the thing that is another theme between both of you is the resilience that you both have, and paying attention. Like this whole idea of it's the co-founder thing, right? You're sitting here going like, there's an inertia of like there's a whole market that seems to be going away. Our entire livelihood is going away, and you're emotional about it, which is your gut on the other side when you're in a good place is probably like, taking the world by storm. And then you're like, oh, damn. And then you're on the other side sitting here going like, we're going to try stuff. We're going to get creative. And that sort of together thing keeps the resilience, because you keep probably a lot more emotion in the business, and you keep a lot more progress in the business. And that kind of is, creating this culture, right? And you guys are leading people, right? So talk to me about like, through this whole process, what's your sort of employee culture? Like what's going on where you're like, we have a thriving business where we go to the same place. We don't have a thriving business for the moment, and COVID's hitting. And then we've got these exploratory things about, shipping and going different places and getting really creative. Talk to me about just how you've hired and what your staffing plans have been like.
The vibes on the truck are immaculate. When you bring this up, I hear like house music playing in the background because we create a really high energy, fun, inviting space on the truck. Yeah.
So William worked in the food industry for how many years? 8 years before starting Sugar and Spoon. And he told me so many stories. And he was like, one thing I want to do differently about Sugar and Spoon is like the environment and like how we hire people, who we hire, and like what that looks like. So from the get-go, we didn't realize this, but like pretty soon after, we were like, hey, pretty much everyone can scoop cookie dough, right? Like our system is so simple. We don't need someone who needs to, like cook food, or like at the beginning we were driving the truck. So like, we were like, we really just need high energy, positive individuals. So that's what we look for. We look for individuals who have high energy, are positive, are like great team players, and are excited about our product, and kind of like understand how important it is to us and how important it eventually will be to them too. Because we really try to create like a family with Sugar and Spoon. So that's how we hire people. So when we do interviews, we call them like vibe checks, kind of. That's what we call them, at least internally.
Very unconventional.
Vibe checks, very unconventional. Like come wearing whatever, we always say, like what you wear to class, what you wear to hang out with your friends. You don't need to bring a resume. If you want to, you can. And we just like kind of talk to them and feel them out and ask them like, okay, this is what's happening on the truck. Like, what would you do?
Situational questions.
Situational.
And like how they have a conversation. Are they like exciting to talk to?
Eye contact, like energy, like what are the levels like? Because when you come to Sugar Spoon, the most important thing is the experience. Like cookie dough is great, but like you can go buy cookie dough. You can go make your own cookie dough. You can order it online. Like you can do whatever you want, but like you can't replicate the experience that we create.
Yeah. And people took all these little steps, finding out where we're going to be, how long we're going to be there, where we're going to be parked, getting there. And it's all these little things like a smile and a small conversation that make this huge impact and create like what we call the Sugar Spoon experience. It's more than just a product. You're going to go to this bright colored truck, get a crazy cool product that you're familiar with, but we're reinventing it in a new whole exciting way. And you're going to meet like someone fun and high energy, and you're going to leave like with a smile.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So is everybody in the truck, or do you have people outside too?
So usually everyone's inside the truck. Summer days, we do have like one person maybe that goes outside and answers questions or helps with the menu or something like that. Or like William and I are at an event, we really like to get outside of the truck and like talk with our customers, answer questions. We like to take videos, make TikToks, that kind of stuff. It just like kind of brings them in to the experience, because our trucks are like super tall, super big, like kind of some of them are closed off. One of them is really open, which is nice, but we want to kind of bring in the customer as much as we can into the experience.
Well, what is one word or phrase that you think describes you and why you're different than other food trucks or even other restaurant experiences?
Oh, one word I can't.
You can do one phrase or a one word.
High energy. I don't know. What's one word?
I'm going to stick to experience, because I think like a product is one thing, but if you have a food truck that's more than just a good food product and you create this whole like experience that encapsulates people's like memory and gives them a good vibe, you're going to want to come back.
Got it. That's awesome. How would you what would be a descriptor you would use to describe your experience, the experience you're delivering?
High energy would be the
first
thing.
High energy, fun. We always say like we want to be the best part of someone's day. Like a lot of times people come up to the truck, they're like, I just had the worst day ever. And like they'll be coming home from work, like I had the worst day ever. And they like really open up to us, I feel like. I don't know, I really get close with our customers.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, like it gets better from here. Like, what can I get you? Like, chat with them, get close with them, like make a connection. And it's like the best feeling when you see, like, you give them their product and you see like that huge smile on their face, and like you just know, like, you're the best. You want to be the best part of their day, or like their like happy moment in their day, like their smile.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. Well, like one of the themes that I'm seeing of the 5 things we've been talking about is you guys have something that I'm passionate about is marketing. You have a real knack for marketing, right? Because vibe checks with staff members, it has a bit, your experience that you're delivering has a lot to do with your marketing, but then there's promoting it and getting people to pay attention. And you've talked about a lot of the experimentation that you guys have done. And you mentioned Facebook.
Big Facebook.
Big Facebook. I mean, I watched a lot of your TikToks. So talk to me about social media and why that is kind of like a way that you guys are using to kind of get the word out there and get people to pay attention to you.
Yeah. So when you have a food truck, it's really, like William said, it's really hard to get your customer to get to you, especially if you don't have like a place where you're at every single day. Because like if you have a store, you have a big sign, you sit there every day, people are driving by, walking by, like they know where it is. There's a website for it. For us, like our Yelp, like it doesn't even say where we're at. Like Yelp doesn't have that for us. So like we had to figure out how to make sure our customers knew where we were, like not making it impossible to find this moving truck every single day.
Yeah.
So social media has been really important way to like let our customers know where we're at. In the beginning, we started a lot with Instagram because our student body like following was a lot on Instagram. So that's where we started.
It was also the social media that like we were most comfortable with and we're using most ourselves, where Facebook was more like older generation, like kind of like losing traction.
Yeah.
And we were trying to like stay forward and keep like what was working.
Right. And then post-COVID, or during COVID and post-COVID, Facebook became really important because we started going, like our customer completely changed. If I told you like when we started this company that our customer who, like our normal customer today, that's not who I envisioned our customer being at all. Like we were so much with like downtown Seattleites, tourists and students. And now it's changed so much because we are going to all these like neighborhoods and families and going so far north, like an hour and a half north, an hour and a half to 2 hours south.
Wow.
That our customer changes every day. So we kind of have to pivot every single event and find our customer like every single day. So Facebook has been great because we've been able to make like Facebook events. So we try to make an event for every single pop-up, which sometimes we have like 4 pop-ups a day.
Another shout out to Angie.
Angie, thank you, Angie.
I can't wait to send this to her. Facebook
She's
message it to her.
Yeah, FB message. So we do like Facebook events and then we promote those and then those get traction. And we also promote to Instagram where we have like always our schedule up. And then something new that we've started thanks to Facebook is like posting within groups, like neighborhood groups. So it's like free marketing, which is like something I, again, would never think we would do. Like that would never cross my mind. But from going to all these communities, we've found like these tight communities, like they share and they spread the word. And if you find the right person, like your host is your best marketer, you're good.
Yeah, it's like a free marketing rep. So like Angie, like these hosts that invite our food truck out, like we send them the Facebook link. We ask them if they need any marketing materials. Like we're happy to supply them with like a digital flyer or anything that they need to help spread the word to the event. But from there, we're like, it's like spread the word. We've had hosts like distribute flyers to mailboxes before we come to an event. Like sharing it on Facebook, it's just like the smallest little things make the biggest impact. And turning these people who are willing to host our food truck into a free marketing rep, like spread the word that we're coming. Let's like hype it up. Let's make it a big thing.
And they really like go all out. And it doesn't cost anything for them, doesn't cost anything for us. And it's like the best turnout events.
Yeah, that's amazing. So if I could kind of stitch together an observation, right? Like one of the things that I see is kind of the chemistry and the effervescence that you guys both have together burst this business and all of this thread of resilience that you have. It also, though, because you invested in the experience, a big part of your marketing is people becoming advocates for you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't have the experience, people wouldn't be advocates.
Totally.
It isn't about cookie dough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think that has a lot to do with, one of the things that you hear a lot of entrepreneurs talk about, like if you read Michael Gerber's E-Myth, there's this whole idea of there are technicians having entrepreneurial seizures. It's one of the things he talks about is that, hey, and he uses this bakery, like this lady's really great at baking cupcakes. And she's like, I'm gonna start a cupcake business. She doesn't realize that she has to monitor a P&L. She needs to figure out how to keep things stocked. She has to figure out how to hire. She's got to figure out how to do marketing. 90% of that has nothing to do with cupcakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know? A good product is important, but I think it's like just one of the steps.
Yeah. And I think one of the coolest things that you've done is this whole experience into advocacy. If you can figure out, because you're on a digital medium now with social media, if you can figure out how to, now you're going mobile, right? And being able to ship stuff, you can actually go and expand the business in a pretty meaningful way because your core nucleus is chemistry to experience to advocacy, and doing that on a digital medium. You guys have like a massive future ahead of you. So it's actually really encouraging to meet you guys and see what you've figured out and just how your gut and sort of work ethic kind of working together to create this momentum in this pretty incredible business.
Yeah, we're not afraid to
Thank
like
you.
break norms and try new things because new things can lead to new successes, and like little things like Angie's message or listening to the Seattle food truck guy would have stopped us from moving forward. But
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, well, I have some rapid fire questions for you.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
What's your favorite cookie dough, Ivana?
Party animal with ice cream on top.
Okay. Well, William, what's your favorite flavor?
Oreo with ice cream on top.
That's amazing. That sounds so good. Is there stuff in here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to have to crack that out.
Are we doing unboxing?
All right. We can. Yeah. Right then. So I have another one. Is it possible to create a savory flavored cookie dough
Yes.
rather than just a sweet one?
We've done like salted pretzels and like flaky salt on top.
So like no grandma's meatloaf or,
Not selling me.
Thai shrimp, cookie dough.
Not sure about that one.
Not possible. Got it. Maybe who's another entrepreneur or what's another business that's inspired you recently?
I love Stacy's pita chip story. Like if you've listened to her story, I think she's like such a badass. I love her.
Yeah.
A lot of this other Seattle food trucks and Seattle small businesses really inspire us. We're really close with a lot of them. Sea Delicious, shout out.
Anyone who's going through like similar experiences that we are, like young, trying to do something big.
Or like a lot of I really look up to the food industry, people in the food industry in Seattle that have been there for a long time and that we get to connect with and like learning from their experience. I really appreciate that.
Who would you like most to meet in the food industry?
Oh my gosh. Stacy.
Okay.
I love her.
What about you?
I have a girl crush on her. I also want to meet the Shark
That's episode
Tank.
2.
Sorry. Hey.
I'm coming back to this one. That is
What
a
about those
really
people
good
that started the
question.
lobster food truck
That were on Shark
Tank?
Tank, yeah.
I kind of want to meet them.
The brothers out of Maine.
Would love to meet Mark Cuban. He's not in the food industry, but
Hey, there you
Him
go.
too.
Another entrepreneur.
Okay, pass on that one.
Pass. Got it. Well, maybe food trucks aside, like what tip do you have, each of you have for, new entrepreneurs trying to figure it out?
I always say, well, we heard this from our accelerator program. You're going to wake up, being an entrepreneur is like waking up every morning and knowing that you're going to get punched in the face, but not knowing where the punch is going to come from. And in the beginning, the punch is like really hard and like you're like fearing it all day. But then as you grow as an entrepreneur, you're going to just accept the punch and you're going to be ready for it. So just know that and like know that it's normal. And yeah, punches happen, but you got to roll with them.
That's awesome.
Mine is go for it. Like, it doesn't matter your age, like where you went to school, what your background is, like go for it. If you have passion, like it'll drive you forward.
That's awesome. Well, it's been an awesome conversation. What's kind of next for you guys?
We're always focused on growth.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to grow.
We're
Spoon.
not scared to try anything.
We're ready to take it far. I think we should reach out of Washington State. I think that's the next thing for us.
Wow.
Shipping our product and seeing it hit other states has been like a really cool thing, and picturing like, what if we did this in a city that it isn't raining all the time and there's actually sun in the sky.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, it's good to spend time with you guys. Thanks so much for coming to the studio.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Absolutely.